Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses for another match preview, the third match preview of the season, and I'm glad to say this time I've been joined by my good friend Doc. Quack, what's going on, mate? How's things?
I'm doing good. A bit tired here. I want to say early morning, even though it isn't quite early morning while we're doing this preview. Luckily, I feel like the defeat from yesteryears now, I want to say it feels like it. I feel like it's been quite a ways away, right? With no midweek fixture. I think it's nice after such a shambolic performance, we can disassociate a bit, right, for a few days and then get back into the thick of things now and hopefully look forward to a positive result on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's just touch on that, mate. I mean, the last game against Preston, away at Preston. The last time we played Preston away, we obviously won the championship.
Yeah.
And this time round, obviously, quite a humbling defeat. I mean, it was a bit of a dramatic weekend, Doc, because after the result and performance, then there was the whole thing with Abdul, who's on the screen here, talking about, the fans need to support us. What's your take on all of this? Because off the back of that, you've got some fans who are turning on Abdul for saying
I think
that.
fans turning on Abdul is crazy. I think he definitely could have worded his statement better. His first language is not English. I think if you watched him in interviews and stuff like that, go listen to When You're Smiling when they interviewed him just after the Fiorentina game. Like, he is not 100% fluent in the ins and out of the English language. I think what he wanted to say was quite clear, that he really appreciated the support they were getting, but he needed the 10% extra, right? I think the one time I went to a home game at Leicester, right, flew in from Denmark to watch us play Plymouth, we battered them 4-0. There was still 20% of the ground that I'd left before the game ended. And I can only compare it to how it works in Danish culture. Obviously, a few people leave in Denmark, especially if you get battered. But if a game is 1-1, or if it's an important game, or you're trailing a game, it will no longer just be the ultras who are cheering for the team on the long sides as well. You'll stand up, you'll sing for the team, because you can give the extra 5% that can help you turn around a crucial game. And I think that's what I read into it, that he was implying, right? That they need that extra 5%, and I think I'm happy this statement came from someone who cared, because if it came from someone like, let's say, Harry Winks, right, or about Fars, it would go on deaf ears. But I think Abdul clearly cares about this club, and I think we all have to do better to make this place better.
Yeah, I agreed, mate. I mean, I think with the Abdul situation, it was like, I agree, I don't think there's a problem with fans getting critical, especially off the back of a performance that clearly lacked fight, it lacked determination, it lacked quality really as well. But this guy cares, like you said. His intentions are only positive. I mean, he's such a positive person. I was scrolling through Instagram this morning and I saw him just in Seagrave, just dancing away like on his own in the gym. And he's such a positive guy, always smiling. And a player like him, I think, feeds off positivity and feeds off the fans and the atmosphere. So yeah, I think obviously that's why he's just trying his best. And I don't think people should go at him for that.
Yeah. I think just shortly, I think we do have pretty good away support as well. So maybe after an away game, obviously it was the defeat, right? It's not the best time to post it when people are also a bit more touchy with everything going on. And then as well, for the fans in the stadium, it's hard to direct your, I don't want to say abuse, but direct your criticism and your frustrations about how the club is being run to the right person, right? You could be singing for Radkin out, and that will sound negative, and Abdul could be harmed by that on the pitch. I'm not saying don't chant Radkin out. I think we should, because we want him out, but it's hard. I'm just saying for Abdul, maybe he doesn't realize how hard as a fan it is to direct your criticism at the right person, because he'll hear it and maybe think it's about him, while we're quite clearly chanting for the guy who's sitting with all the money, who's ruined this football club. So I think that goes into it as well, right? Because sometimes even what they're singing is not about the discontent of the players not trying. It's a discontent with the higher up management, and if that affects the players on the pitch too, it does suck. But I feel like it's a necessary step to take to try and increase any slight chance of potential change happening in the boardroom.
Yeah, I think this shows that it does affect the players, right? What the fans are doing and saying, it does affect them. Okay, well, let's move on. So we are away at Charlton this weekend. And here you go, the season start. You can see Charlton are there in 10th, Leicester in 12th. So Charlton with 4 points, 1 win and 1 draw. I think the win was against Watford and the draw was Bristol City.
Very late win, I believe.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Nathan Jones, I saw clips of running at down the touchline, giving it his all.
Yeah.
You could say performing to the crowd? I don't know.
I'm definitely saying that, mate. He's extremely... look, I don't want to try and shit on the bloke, but he's just extremely cringe. I remember at the end of last season where I think it might have been in the playoffs, I can't remember, but he was on the touchline and he waited for the camera to go to him, and then he did a whole fall to his knees and praying to the thing, and it was just very dramatic.
He's what we in the gaming world would call clip farming, right? When you're doing something just for the camera so they can clip it and put it on Twitter saying, look at Nathan Jones' celebration. Good start though for Charlton, right? Newly promoted side, of course. I think from what... And this is going to be my knowledge for many of these teams when we do these season previews. Much of it will come from the 3-4 different podcasts I've tuned in to do throughout the week for the championship and like videos of predicting results and stuff like that. And I think one of the things many people who predicted Charlton to stay up mentioned was that they have signed well. And I'll say, having looked at it now, I do mainly agree with that. Obviously, a big spender on Charlie Kilman from QPR, who I know QPR fans were very pleased to sell and invest that money in Richard Kone. So... how good Charlie Kilman is, I think maybe is a bit hard for me to judge because I've mainly just seen QPR fans being very happy with the price they've gotten for him.
Well, we'll see in a second when we get to it, but like the role he's been playing in the team, he's been coming very deep. But I'll look at that in a second. But as you can see here, 4 points on the board for Charlton, which, as you said, is a great return for a newly promoted team. Leicester with the 3, obviously, just the 3 points against Sheffield Wednesday. They've only scored 1 goal, Charlton. It was like you said, it was a late goal against Watford in the first game. The second game was a 0-0. And, of course, Leicester have scored 3, 2 in the first game and 1 in the last one. Norwich City in between us there, Doc, who I think they're one to watch for a lot of people this season, just with some of the players they brought in. I mean, Kvisgon, who I'm very, very, who I wanted Leicester City to sign. But Josh Sargent's the one scoring the goals for them.
I mean, he's still there, right? Had a flop move to Wolfsburg, or flopped, a collapsed move, rather, probably is the right phrasing. So didn't end up leaving. I think they would have been overpaying for him. But yeah, definitely a top-tier championship striker. I think my general takeaway from the standings right now is don't look too much into it unless you're getting battered both games. But I think for Charlton, obviously points on the board will be something they'll be happy about as I think the season progresses, and they'll likely fall down a bit in the standings to, I think, around, just above the relegation. So maybe 18th if they're doing good. But we'll see. I'll have a more qualified opinion when I've watched them play us.
So if we move on to the next slide, we'll see here the basic principles of how Charlton play and the strengths to their game, I think, is game management, even in League One as well. They were very good at seeing out games. Set pieces, I've watched some clips as well, and they look very organised defensively from set pieces, but also in attack. They've... I think their first goal of the season, their only goal of the season against Watford, did come from a set piece. But I watched a lot of the videos as well from last season, and their set pieces look great. Even in the opening 2 games as well, the set pieces that didn't lead to goals, they had chances from them. And I think, Duck, just touching on that specifically for now, that is something that that could cause Leicester trouble, because I think we have improved offensively and defensively from set pieces, but it has always been a bit of a hamstring for Leicester for the last few years. We are vulnerable at set pieces. I think maybe it's because we haven't got too many tall players or physical players, and the tall player we do have in Yannick Vestergaard can't jump. So I think that's one to watch, right? Set pieces, if that is one of their strengths.
I will say, I feel like maybe our fans over-complain a bit about our set pieces. I feel like if you compare it to the lows we had in our relegation season, we've gotten a lot better. We've had periods where we've gotten better. We've scored 2 of our 3 goals so far from set pieces. And I don't know how we conceded any directly from a set piece. We've definitely conceded some transitions, which, these long balls will tell us that maybe we'll see again, having to be careful on transitions. But from what I'm reading here, right, of what you put together, Lux, it very much sounds like your traditional Leicester game so far this season. And traditional might be a strong word for 2 games, but we'll likely have more of the ball. We'll try to break them down on the turnover. They'll play the long ball, and then our defense or rest defense have to be locked in and not give up some dumb goals on the counter, and obviously not give too many set pieces away.
Yeah, I mean, with the long balls as well. I mean, look, if you look at the strengths and weaknesses here on screen, you would say that they are the characteristics of a newly promoted team, right? That aren't full of quality, but do the basics and are pragmatic. And I think that's them down to the team. What I will say, which we'll touch on again in a second, but there are bits of quality in that team from what I saw as well. There are some players in there that can create something. But with the long balls, mate, like you said, that, I know Manny was speaking a lot about it last night, but the Luke Thomas, Yannick Vestergaard side of the defence against Preston, it just got absolutely pelted. It
can't exist this game, right? I feel like that's we just can't let that be the starting left centre back and left back in combination. Even starting one of them, I think, is a bold move. Playing both of them together on one side, you're leaving a glorious gap for anyone to exploit. But hopefully, Marty, who's now been here more than a month, will have learned that by now.
Yeah, the finishing of chances, I mean, look, they've scored 1 goal. They should have scored more than 1 goal this season, but that goes for every team. Like the team they play, Bristol City, for example, in their last game could have scored some goals. So, the chances, chance conversion, should I call it, isn't great, but that's something that, you never know. They could rock up and be very clinical. In terms of the keeping possession, I mean, yeah, in the opening 3 games, and this includes the League Cup game as well, which was against, it was a League 1 or League 2 team. I'll just have a quick look just to remind myself who it was against. It was against, I want to say Crawley. It was Stevenage. So they played Stevenage, and even in that game, Charlton had the less of possession. So they were happy to kind of, concede possession. But I will say, when this was from some of the clips I saw, they could put some moves together with regards to passing. I don't think the passing was bad. I just think the game plan was to give up possession, and it worked for them. So in the most part in those opening games. But again, Doug, it's what to expect when you've got Leicester City, the big dogs of the Championship, coming up against a newly promoted team. They are going to give up possession because they know that they're not going to be able to dominate us in that area.
Yeah, I mean, makes a lot of sense. I don't have much more to add. I think you said it very well, Lux.
Yeah. If we move on then to the next one, so you can see here the starting lineup for the last game and also the average position. So you mentioned the striker, mate. Is it Kelman or
yeah, Charlie Kelman? Yeah.
So you can see how deep he was there, number 23, in that last game. But the two, I mean, look, you can see he dropped deep. He held up the ball well, or flicking it on. The wingers and the attacking midfielder got forward quickly. And 2 players I actually was really impressed with some of the clips I saw, Doc, was, and I'm not expecting you to know anything about them, but it was Apter, the right winger there, the right midfielder, and also Carey, the attacking midfielder. Those 2 in particular, I thought they were physical, but the technical ability was there, in my opinion. Of course, it's not quite up to the scratch of some of Leicester players, but for a newly promoted side, I was actually quite impressed with what they were doing. Also, the right back Ramsey, he looks a bit of a player as well, and I think he scored. I don't know if he scored their first goal. He scored a few goals for them in his time there over the last 12 months or so. So there are players there, as you'd expect in the Championship with most teams, Duck, that can cause trouble. Just because we've not heard of them, just because they've come from League One or whatever. We saw against Preston that Thierry Small, I mean, look what he did to us. He absolutely ripped us apart. So, go on.
I think a thing as well from the Premier League to here is, right, when we played in the Premier League, teams might have an off day when they were playing against us because we were little old Leicester last year. It's obviously different 4 years ago, 3 years ago even. But last time we were up, it was very much, we were hoping that maybe they rotate a bit if they had a big European fixture. Maybe this or maybe that, or maybe they wouldn't just be fully locked in because they were expected to win the game. And now everyone will be coming to us 110% locked in, right? Like they are all knowing this is a big game, right? If they can get points here, it will be so massive. It's against Leicester. And yeah, I think it just means every time we play a team, even if they aren't the best, they're gonna be on their A game, and that can be felt.
Yeah, yeah. Tyrese Campbell as well on the left side. He's a decent footballer. I did laugh when I was doing a bit of research on him. I saw his name. Get ready for this, Doc. His full name. You ready? Tyrese Anthony Tupac Shakur Campbell. That's his name.
That's a great name.
His middle name is Tupac Shakur, which I found incredible. But also, do you notice a few former Luton players?
Yeah,
that's You've got Kaminsky and Amari
Bell.
Bell.
What I was about to mention, obviously, having seen a bit of Luton in the Prem. Amari Bell, I recognise. Thomas Kaminsky, of course, the keeper for both relegations, but also, I believe, the promotion at the very least to the Premier League. And yeah, I mean, obviously they both came off a shocking year with Luton, but I think they should both be fine Championship level footballers. And I believe they're a fine piece of business, right? I've opened their transfer market to see they paid 1 million euros, 1.1 million euros for Kaminsky and got Amari Bell on a free. That's not bad business for if you're looking to try and stabilize in the Championship. I think that's totally fine. So I feel like they've done some shrewd piece of business. There are many members I don't recognize well. I see there's a Reece Burke as well from Luton, who I can't see in the starting 11. But like they've rated Luton a bit. The classic, they've got relegated. Let's take some of their players. I think the Charlie Kilman for the fee is bad business for a club of this size. Like spending 3.5 mil in the Championship, if you're not a parachute team, it's a lot on a single player. And if he isn't a star man, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I want to see him be a key piece in that machine before I think you can really justify that transfer fee. But yeah, we'll see. It's their money, right? We've not spent a penny yet, so what can I say?
I was going to say that another player there as well, Connor Coventry. I don't know if you know about him, Doc.
Just a bad name, though. That's the main thing. I know.
He was from the West Ham Academy. I've just looked. I can't believe he's still only 25. I remember having him in a FIFA career mode about like 9 years ago because he came through the academy and there was a bit of excitement around him. And he does have ability. He can play. It's just not worked out for him too much in his career. I think he, after West Ham, he's just kind of floated around League One, League Two, and teams like that. But there's a player in there for sure. He's not a bad midfielder at this level. I think he's decent. So there's another player to look out for. But as we said, with regards to how they're going to play, you can see it really, and how I've described it there about Kelman dropping deep and then the other players bombing forward. And yeah, I they could hurt us. They could absolutely hurt us. If we move on to the next one as well, mate, just what to expect. So I've said, similar to the opening two games, Charlton to play deep, invite us onto them, and then play on the transition and catch us out. They will battle us physically, probably coming out on top. It's what I'd expect physically. Our technical ability and pace out wide will need to be utilised in order to win the game. And then I've said another team who will want to win more than we do. And I don't mean to shit on the players, Doc, but normally this is sometimes what you find. A newly promoted team coming up against a team with many players that don't want to be here. We're going to have to be on our A game because I just think they will outfight us. And that is a problem. And when I say that, I mean, a lot of the second balls, which I think we have struggled with at times in the opening couple of games. I think we need to control the game more, Doc, because I know Marty Cifuentes' brand of football doesn't really allow for that too much. We do see us control the game at times, but it's not at the level it was under Enzo Maresca. And I just think chaos at the minute, Doc, is actually causing us problems. The end-to-end stuff is where we're being caught out.
Especially when we're not finishing the chances we create in the end-to-end stuff, right? I think the second ball's a bit true, I think, as well for our players, though. Maybe a bit of a wake-up call the game against both Huddersfield and Preston, right? I mean, those losses were the loss against Huddersfield, the draw into the penalty shootout, which was a loss then in the end. It's not the start they wanted, the start they needed. I hope we'll see more of the players who want to be here. I feel like, if we start as many of them as possible, we could be pretty all right on the second balls. What I'm trying to say is I feel like we have something to prove too, and I hope the players will feel that. Like, even if you want to not be here anymore, maybe you're playing for that move, right? This is the final game before the transfer window closes. Or maybe we have the Birmingham as well still before that. But, there's not many games left if you want to try and showcase yourself, right? If you're Buba Sumare or anyone else may be desperate to get a move who will be featured in the team. So, gotta put in a shift now if you want to try and look good to get out of the club if you don't want to be here. So, yeah, we'll see. I think a lot depends on the lineup Marty puts out and how they've been so far, how much they want to fight for this club. Because let's say Lewis Page starts, I think even if he isn't up there physically, I think he'll definitely challenge those second balls and be very good at the press to try and retain control of the game.
I was going to say though, Doc, like, you know, I think the last 2 years, Marty, you know, at QPR, he's used to being the team that maybe are the underdog and that aren't expected to go and dominate games. But he has been in roles like that, right? Hammarby, was he? I'm guessing Hammarby are one of the better teams in that division. You'll be able to tell me more than I know. So I'm sure he has faced these challenges, because I do think it's a challenge at the minute, and it's something Marty needs to kind of grow into, Doc, where he's playing teams every week that are gonna want them to. They're gonna want it more, in my opinion. But also, you know, at times they will sit in a deep block. They will make it hard to break them down, and I think that's a challenge that we need to try and work out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now. I don't know too much about Swedish football, probably a bit more than you, right? But Hammarby promoted in 2015. They won silver in 2003. So, like, it was a historic club in Sweden. But when he took over, they had finished 8th after a few years. So,
Okay.
yeah, from how I remember them, they were like a sub-top club, right? They had finished 4th and 3rd. Then they went 8th, and then I believe Marty came in that 2021 season, and like midway through, and then in the 2022 season, he got them to 3rd, right, before he then left. And then they went down to 7th, and now they're climbing back up to 2nd. So it's like a sub-top club. The club he managed in Denmark, they're now actually in the 1st division, like relegated. But when he were there, they had won the title 7-8 years ago, but had fallen on their luck a bit, right? And were a club that could beat most teams, but were not like heavy favorites. I feel like maybe in Denmark it's fair to say we have like a few top clubs like Copenhagen, Midtjylland, and then it switches a bit between the third. Brøndby should probably be in there, and then there's like a good middle field, right? But he was in one of those higher end middle teams, and this is the first time in his career he's been at a top club, right? When you go into the championship as Leicester, even if we don't have the best lineup in terms of the players, the facilities, the brand of, you know, a team that just won the league in Premier League 10 years ago and got promoted first place 2 years ago, you're expected to be the team everyone wants to beat, right? And that's the first time in his career he's that team. And I think it's clear that he has to learn a bit from that, right? Yeah, I think he's surprised a bit by how deep teams sat against us in the first 2 weeks. And I think he needs to figure out how his system will deal with this better and how to play through these deep blocks without being too open on the transition. And it's clear there's stuff to learn for him still about being this dominant of a team. It might sound a bit cocky, but you get what I'm saying, right? Because
no, I hear you.
It wasn't like that with QPR, right? The respect teams pay to us when we go and play them in the championship, right? We've played 2 5-backs in a row now, because that's just how it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on. So what I've done, Doc, is I've actually... Oh, sorry, not just yet. Nearly there. So team news...
Go through this.
Well, yeah, so no news yet of James Justin's injury picked up versus Preston. I think it's his press conference today, so I'm assuming, Marty, so we'll know more then. Ricardo has been in training for the last week, so could be an option. We'll have to wait and see. Christiansen's still missing, no news on that. And of course, you know, I think we're all expecting Bilal El-Khanous to miss out on this game because it looks like his move to Palace is all but done, although we might get a bid from Tottenham now that they've missed out on Eze.
It would be nice for a little bidding war, right? I'd be fine if it takes a few more days, not much more than that, but if we get 5, 6, 7, 8 mil more for him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've done, mate, if we move on, is I've put together the team that I would like to see, depending on people being fit, of course, like Ricardo, you know, might not be fit and stuff like that. And I invite you, Doc, to tell me what you would do differently. Okay, so if we look at the next slide, we will see. If you can move that over, Doc. The next slide.
Oh, yeah, sorry, man. Yeah, that's me who controls my bet.
There you go. So this is what I've gone with, just based off the players that should be available or maybe might just be available. So I have gone with, obviously, Stelarczyk in goal. I've gone Ricardo again, if he's fit. Okoli, Fass, and Luke Thomas. Sorry, Doc, for the Luke Thomas one. But if JJ's injured And if Bade is injured, which he
Christiansen is
picked
injured.
up an injury. Yeah, so that leaves us with Luke Thomas, unfortunately. I've gone skipping Winks. Bit bold. I just think Samare has... I don't know, Doc. For me, there just isn't enough fight and determination from Samare.
Yeah.
I think he's a better player than Oliver Skipp. However, Skipp, I think, will fight for those second balls that we have struggled with recently. And I just think maybe it's time to give him a chance back in the team. And I've gone with Page as the tip of that. Yeah.
Just quickly on the Skipp thing, I'll say this. I think he's done a lot right this season in terms of the runs he's made and stuff. He's not good enough to execute on it, right? Like, I've seen him multiple times track his man well while defending, but fail to physically win the duel and get the ball from him. I've seen him make some good runs, receive the ball, his first touch fumbles it and gives the ball away. Like, he's doing quite a lot right when you see him on the pitch. He's just not good enough to fully execute the action, right?
Yeah.
Which is very frustrating. But you're like, yes, you're tracking your man, you're doing the right thing. Now take the ball from him, beat him physically, and he can't. And that's the bit annoying part about him. But yeah, I think like it's between him and Samari. I don't really care who starts with them, to be honest. I mean, like I'm not too fussed either way. It's not anything that excites me at the very least. Let's say it like that.
I just think Samari is more physical, and I think he's a better player, but he just lacks fight.
Lazy.
He's lazy. Yeah, exactly. And I've gone for Page, which is a bit of a bold one. I just think with Bilal not there, I think in the game so far, Page has outshone Will Alves. I think Lewis Page has been the better player out of the two. Yes, there's an option there to play Ayew in the 10 and Daka as the number 9, but I just don't want Patson Daka anywhere near this team.
That's the easy way out, right? That's the easy way out.
Yes, and I'm worried that's what Marty's going to do.
Same.
But this is what I want to see. Of course, Monga for Mavididi. I just think Monga deserves a start.
I think that's obvious after his game in Preston. I think you deserve your start then.
Yeah, but there is a shout, Doc. This is where I'll invite you to comment. There is a shout that maybe Monga or Mavididi play in the 10 and the other one plays out wide. But what changes would you make to this team?
I would honestly, I think maybe just for the pace, even if he isn't the most physical. Try Woyo at that left back, man. I mean, he's just dipped out of the squad completely. And we paid 3 million for him. That transfer fee can easily be repaid by just playing him a bit. And I think he's not probably perfect for the issues we have at left back right now with him and Vestergaard. But I think he's quicker than Thomas, which is one thing at the very least, right? To make up the ground. And I think he's someone who, would probably be yearning to get back to the pitch and play some football. So hopefully he would fight hard for those second balls as well, make those runs to help out the wingers. I think Manga deserves to start. I'm not sure Page starts. I would like to see that. I think with the options we have, if Bilal isn't there, I would rather see either Manga try out the 10. He's been brilliant on the left wing, but we know he thinks his best position is 10. And I'm wondering, if you're this good on the left wing, and you say your 10 is the best and preferred position, how good are you going to be in the 10, mate? So, I feel like this might be the game to try it out. But I'd like to see Page there as well. I'd be open to see Will Alves there as well. I'll be open to see Mavididi there again, if that's what he wants to try. I think the one thing that would disappoint me most, if he takes the easy way out, right? Moves Ayew down, starts Patson Daka on top, and that's his way he solves that problem. It would be the easy way out. And I think there are many other choices that are a bit more bold, a bit more creative, and I think we would all get more behind because they utilize the young lads.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm worried that Ricardo is probably just a little bit, just not quite ready to start this one. But if that is the case, Doc, well, I think we are going to see Woyo in some capacity, even if
he'll
it's
have
on
to
the
be in
bench.
the squad at least, right? And let's see how bad Badia Luko's injury is, right? Did you watch the U21 game fully?
I didn't.
No. But I mean, I think I saw him in a few of the highlights, and obviously I don't know what time they were, but I think I saw him at the third goal or something. Let's just hope it's not that bad. I think we'll know more with the press conference, right? And VK, haven't heard much on him in a while. Haven't seen much of either transfers out or with the injury. I think, in my mind, he's gonna stay now because with the injury, right? Who's gonna take him off our hands, which sucks a bit because we could definitely get some value for him, but I will also say, with what we want our left back to do and the injury situation, he would definitely be the best one right now. That's going to sound crazy.
I will say that I messaged Owen. I text Owen the other day just to say, any idea where Woyo is? He just seems to not exist, and there's never any news on injuries and stuff. So he did say, not a clue, but it's on my list to ask this week. So hopefully Owen actually asks.
There should be an update right, on what's happening. I think my best guess is, I think he's probably a bit unsettled, and that sucks. I mean, he came in here, right? Obviously, I don't want to say the expectations were too high of him, but he came in like, we desperately need the signings, and he was the signing, right?
Yeah.
I just don't get how he's not, like, something must be going wrong in training or something, but the few times I've seen him, he's looked far from the worst player on the team, right? Like, he's not been bad. He's not been bad at all. He looked good in his, like, the 5 minutes he got at Tottenham, looked good. Didn't stand out as a poor performer in the Man United game he got 45 minutes in. And that's really all I can remember him playing. I didn't get to watch the first half of the Brentford game. I was working that day. So I know he started that and got ripped at half-time. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's a weird one because when we signed him as well, there was a lot of talk about. I can't remember if this came from Rude or if it came from a journalist, but they were saying that a lot of work had gone in on the Woyo signing, where a lot of research into his character and his past, and speaking to like teachers and stuff like this, and I
can't remember any of that, to be honest.
A lot of insight was done on him to see if he'd be a good fit, and now he's played like 4 times. It's just crazy, but
he's probably played around 90 minutes in total. Yeah,
yeah, it's nuts. If we go to the last slide, mate, of course we end with one more score predictions. So. Let us know in the comment section below as well what you are going to say for the score predictions. I'm Doc going to go with. We've got to get a win. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Leicester City win. What are you saying, mate?
I'm going to go 3-1. I think we need a bit more luck in our finishing department. We'll get that today. If Manga starts, who knows if he backs another goal or maybe even an assist as well. I hope we get a performance that will excite us. And we'll see some changes. I don't expect him to fix all the issues we have, because there are many, and some I think require just personnel change, which quite clearly hasn't happened, and that's not only on Marty. But I hope we'll see learnings taken into action, right, and applied to the pitch as well.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, hopefully, like you say, we do get a win. And with all the booing and the toxicity and stuff, I think all fans want to see is a positive reaction to all of that. You know, with everything that's happened, they want to see the team go out there and actually put a shift in, work hard and fight for the 3 points. And sometimes it just feels like the fight isn't there. So hopefully that is there. And it could be, like I said, the first game without Bill out. So we want to see that we still have enough, right? Of course we have enough on paper, because some of the players here are just too good. But without Bilal, do we have enough attacking? Because you could argue, even with Bilal, mate, we have struggled with scoring goals, right? I know we've scored 3 so far, but I don't think there's been enough chances created, personally.
In the first game, I'll say that was. We should have scored a lot more goals in the first game against Sheffield Wednesday. But I do agree against... we should have scored the Fatawa chance, but against Preston, we didn't have as many clear-cut chances.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Cheers, Doc. Like I said, everybody in the chat below, in the comment section, make sure to leave your comment with the score prediction. If there's any Charlton fans here as well, which I'm sure there will be, welcome. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit subscribe. And we will see you live on Saturday for the watch-along. Because it's an early one, it's 12:30 kickoff. So we will be live from 12:15 on Saturday afternoon, should I say. So cheers, Doc, mate. See you very soon. And yeah, speak to you all soon.